Let's get into some rapid fire news today. So quickly, I just wanted to remind you guys of this patent for XRP and on-demand liquidity that was just released back in January. So just a few months ago, discussing on-demand liquidity for cross-medium transactions. Of course, Ripple Labs, we can see some recognizable names this invention was credited to, such as Warren Paul Anderson. So I just wanted to point that out. I will, in fact, actually link this in the top of the video description if you'd like to see the official release and just kind of scroll through and read this. I just want to remind people of all the building on the back end that we still do not know about. Of course, there's talks of that new DeFi trading platform. All good and great. I know we've talked about Logos Network, the acquisition of Algorithms a long time ago, and it's really funny to see all of these pieces really coming together at this time. And also, I did in fact tweet this, and I just want to remind people, so it only takes one single piece of news or even a single candle on the chart to change our fickle minds in this space entirely. So what I'm saying is, do not lose sight of the horizon. Do what is best for you. Invest only what you can afford to lose, or what you can afford to hold on to and wait. All right? Next up, Matthew LINY sharing. Ripple partner Flutterwave partners with PayPal in Africa. The service is now live and the integration with PayPal will be operational across 50 African countries worldwide. Of course, all linked right here. We do in fact even remember King Solomon, a great researcher in this community, sharing this back then. And funny enough, you can even type in King Solomon Flutterwave and he actually still has the link sourced there. I know we talked about it a few weeks ago, just like everybody, but just all good and great that this link is still active. And Flutterwave was kind of hiding some information and asking them to remove some information regarding XRP. So all good and great. It was fun to speculate. So yes, this partnership, in my opinion, is still alive and well, and we will keep an eye on this and watch this continue to flourish. Okay, so I wanted to quickly cover this. This is shared by FIL, and I know I mentioned going over this in the previous video, so let's kind of speed through this. So incredible. So now we know the WorldBank exclusively mentions Model 3C. That was this PDF on January 1st of this year. It's the exact same Model 3C among the 4 other models disclosed in BOC's Bank of Canada, Bank of England, and the Monetary Authority of Singapore from this document in November 2018. Now, his personal interpretation, this is not financial advice, guys, we just have to speculate accordingly in a speculative market. Notice is that the Universal WCBDC exchange is the XRP Ledger DEX, the decentralized exchange. So very interesting. We're going to kind of peek through this. You guys can see the models right here. A single universal WCBDC backed by a basket of currencies, focusing on interoperability, connectivity, of course. Time and time again, I pay attention to what a lot of these groups, a lot of these central banks, and even blockchain companies are saying about the future and cross-border interbank payments and settlements. So what did they say? What was it? 2019 or was it 2020? Ripple called it the year of connectivity, essentially. And I thought that was very important to note. And we can see, we'll just kind of go through this, you can take a look yourselves. The WorldBank Group, we do know in 2018, they actually praised XRapid, which is today on-demand liquidity, which specifically uses XRP in payment flows. All right, and then November 2018, we can see the cross-border interbank payments and settlements. Notice it's interbank, not intrabank. This is about connectivity, guys. Even David Schwartz, if you have not had the time to go watch his recent interview from yesterday with Tony from Thinking Crypto, I believe it is well worth your time. Some great nuggets. David Schwartz saying, we've understood this all along. Our focus primarily is international payments. Let's get learn how to send payments efficiently across borders. Then we can work on the domestic side of things and work on all those walled garden inefficiencies. But right now, there's a focus on cross-border payments. There's so many cryptos, and of course, oracles, interoperability between networks is incredibly important. But cross-border payments is one of the most immediate use cases right now. And I know one group that has been working for years in educating all of these dinosaur organizations and countries to really step up and keep up with them so that now they can actually create this whole new, essentially IOV, Internet of Value. So just a few things I wanted to share there. Of course, he added X right here because this is his belief. And, I don't think it's that far-fetched. Of course, David has been talking about essentially saying, no, I don't think they're going to actually just put a CBDC on top of the XRP ledger. So what do? We offered privacy features now because you cannot have even the Fed of the United States risk, making a mistake, and now every other country knows that. It makes them vulnerable. It makes sense to me. I think there is an absolute method to the madness. So just wanted to share that. And if I haven't said already, Bank of Canada, of course, they've praised RippleNet, many times, just like WorldBank, as I just mentioned. We can even see right here, Bank of Canada praises Ripple XRP. This is the modern investor. I used to watch him all the time. I hope he is doing well. Great YouTube channel that I really enjoyed back in the day. Let's see. And we're going to talk about that for Stephen Bull from the DIEP. We know Bank of England as well is currently still a paid RippleNet client. They already tested, ILP. We have Miguel Valles talking about it. Mark Carney, of course, the former governor, talking about that. How is it pronounced? Hegemonic currency. Very, very strange coincidences there, of course. And then MAS, Monetary Authority of Singapore. UK, Singapore, they already said XRP is not a security. Interesting. And we're well aware of some ODL corridors that are being built and implemented. We know that MAS is also working with Accenture, one of the early investors in Ripple. So you can see a lot of the connections. I'm not going to say, I'm not going to over speculate, but I'm not going to ignore the obvious connections between all of these groups. Okay, so I want to play this quick clip. It's 20 seconds. Stephen Bull from the DIEP. So according to Jennifer, Ripple's data scientist, Ripple has acquired a company whose expertise is in building trading platforms and integrating with digital asset exchanges. What company is that? So I know that we've paid attention, and Ripple hasn't at least publicly acquired a bunch of companies. And remember, even Twain right here, is that company from Iceland? I feel like everybody's already covered this. Yeah, I think it's a safe assumption that it could be Algrim, but we're not 100% certain. So we're paying attention to, of course, Ripple has a head of DeFi as well. So let me just play this quick clip.
And integrating with digital asset exchanges, which is essential as we scale the business, enter more markets, and start thinking about engineering more complex payment execution strategies.
Oh, I should have turned that down. That really hurt my ears. All right. No, right here, Daily Hodl just made an article about Stephen's findings. So he's a great researcher. If you guys want to follow him right here, you can follow his handle. And just overall, just saying, this week we're discussing all of this. And notably, we've recently acquired a firm whose expertise is in building trading platforms and in integrating with digital asset exchanges, which is essential as we scale the business, enter more markets, and start thinking about engineering more complex payment strategies. Love it. Also, for the 589th time, India is proposing and threatening to ban cryptocurrency, ban trading, ban miners, you name it. So we'll see what happens. I know that John Deaton did, in fact, in the past make a really good point that in certain nations where Bitcoin was banned or even other cryptos, that it actually added to the demand in the asset. And when everybody expected it to be bad news, it actually caused a lot of people to FOMO and buy those assets. So I could see either or. If you've been in the cryptocurrency space for 3 years, 5 years, you've seen this 1,000 times, so no surprise. That we even have CoinDesk making the same article, just going over it. And what stuck out to me was this, because I just read all day. The government has been saying for months it plans to rein in private use of cryptocurrency while providing the legal framework for India's RBI, this is the Reserve Bank of India, India's Reserve Bank, to issue its own central bank digital currency. Now, I don't need to go about, the connections of India, one of the BRICS nations. I feel like I talk about that all the time. But remember, India, the Reserve Bank of India specifically, who was this? Dr. Rajan, former governor for the Reserve Bank of India, speaking at Ripple's event back in Singapore in 2019. If you guys know Brad Kimes, he was even able to ask him a question directly. I'm talking about XRP. So all good and great. And he's on stage, I believe. Yep, that's Naveen Gupta. So all good and great. These are the things I consider. I'm sure you guys have read this, Insights article on Ripple's website 1,000 times. You can even watch the interview right here. I find all of this to be very, very interesting because you have some bigwigs that are speaking at Ripple's annual event, such as Swell. Of course, before the pandemic, when we were able to meet each other and be humans, which was nice. Now, Jamil K is sharing this. So this was actually shared by Darren Moore, guys. You can follow him here, Fame21 More. I'm sure you guys know him if you're in the XRP community. And I just want to play this 20-second clip of Danny Aranda when he was, in fact, at Ripple as the managing director for Ripple, duh. So notice right here, $5 trillion transacted in the foreign exchange market per day. Of course, Swift even does 5 trillion. There's a lot of money. Even David Schwartz has emphasized, Algorand or ADA, whatever asset, they're not all just going to compete, guys. There's so much value on the move between different walled gardens and silos. So I have more of a belief that there's going to be assets that solve a variety of problems, and there's going to be maybe a lot of room for cooperation actually to complement one another.
And so, where can Ripple go beyond just cross-border payments? One, we think cross-border payments is a huge market. I mean, total FX volume, so foreign exchange volume, like just, different currencies that move around the world every day is about $5 trillion on a daily basis, on a 24-hour basis. So that's huge. That's a lot of money that moves around the world. And
I mean, you can apply like even in economics, like Jevons paradox. Okay, so with crypto, if it makes things more efficient and money can flow faster than before, what if instead of 5 trillion per day, we're able to send 7 trillion a day? I mean, the money just keeps printing globally, inflation is a true concern. So I think that Jevons paradox would apply. I mean, in economics, specifically for value, it only makes sense to me. So yes, I think that money's going to move faster. I think that we're going to have it in our hand instantly instead of it taking 2 to 3 days to go across borders in some illiquid corridors. What happens when you can make these corridors, these currency pairs, more liquid in a bi-directional manner? So now you can go between India and Brazil with much more liquidity in both directions. So instead of, a single little multiplier, you can double that volume as well. There's well over 5,000 currencies being built on the XRP ledger. Well, I think that if you guys do combinations, there's much more than that. Right here, we're going to finish up with this. So Bank of Japan, BOJ's governor says the central bank needs to prepare thoroughly for the digital currency. We're seeing this time and time again. Then we're seeing delays year after year. I know it's exhausting for CBDCs. Good thing with Ripple's use case, it doesn't matter if it is fiat or a digital currency. There is still a bridge asset that is needed to obviously essentially mitigate the risk. There's counterparty risk. Some nations are still going to choose counterparty risk, but we are getting in a step in the right direction. And lastly, we have Filecoin. This is just a coin, not financial advice. This is something I said on this channel that I was comfortable with my grandma buying. I don't hold any substantial amount, but it's nice to see it's going up. I mean, at least 100%. I know a lot of us at least got it on this recent dip, or tried to, when it was between 35 to 38 bucks. I really got a bigger bag around like 43, 42 bucks. But all good and great, guys. Any asset that I talk about on YouTube that's not for like members or anything, or on Twitter, is something that I'm comfortable with. I have vetted thoroughly. This is one of the heaviest funded ICOs back in the day. And you guys just have to dig deep and decide, because this could potentially replace AWS, Amazon Web Services, in terms of storage for every little piece of information that is filed on the blockchain. So yep, I know that Greg Kidd, one of Ripple's bigwigs, of course, back in the day, and he's founder of Global ID, is in fact an investor in this asset. And I know that they compete with SIA and Storage, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. So something to look into. I'm not telling you guys to FOMO into this asset, but I'm saying that I hold a little bit, and you guys have to decide what you value in a project. So I know some people say, oh no, because the holdings are very, very centralized. But for me, as an investor, I don't really care. I'm reading the chart. I'm deciding, my targets. I think that this asset, at least in the years ahead, is an easy 3, maybe 4-digit asset. I don't expect it to absolutely just moon overnight, but this is something that I'm comfortable with having, setting, and forgetting. So I encourage you guys to do your own research with this one. It is funny because we talk about it potentially replacing or making redundant Amazon Web Services or Microsoft Azure, but what if Amazon, purchases a huge amount? And I don't know, there's a lot of hypocrisy in the space, so we're getting there, just like in the early internet days. But all in all, FIL is a nice asset, so that was another easy 100% for anybody that's kind of just been accumulating, at least for the past 2-3 weeks. So all good and great. Hope you guys enjoy, and I will get another video out shortly on playing catch up. There's so much information, so props for everybody that's stuck with me so far. Hit the like button, and I will catch you in the next one.